Hey guys, it's Bryony. Welcome back to my channel. So I didn't get a video up the last 2 weeks because last week I was actually away in Greece with my mum. We went on like a last minute trip out there, which was really fun and exciting, but obviously I was traveling throughout the video time and it just didn't happen. And the week before that I honestly just was not feeling particularly well and I wasn't very motivated either, so I didn't think I would make a video that day. And then this week I've also been feeling a bit blah. I had some news about my health, which is not like really bad or anything, but it's just frustrating because I was feeling so much better. And then I had some more blood tests done like I usually do, and it was like, oh yeah, you know, your thyroid's slightly overactive, you need to do this medication. Like, it's nothing serious, but it's just I'm so fed up of constantly having things going on, if that makes sense. So yeah, it feels a bit ridiculous to be upset over something like that when it's so minor compared to like my health in the past. But it's just, you know, there are times where you're like, I'd like to move on now. I'd like to be able to just not have to worry. So I had that, had some not so great news, which I'm not going to share. And then also today, somebody hacked into my Just Eat account and used my bank card to order a Just Eat order. So that was fun to deal with. Although I have to say, my card company and Just Eat were very good and very quick in responding to it. So I will get the money back from that at least. But it was just a hassle I could have done without, you know? Anyway, because all of that has been going on and I haven't really had a moment to sort of sit down and be inspired about any particular videos, I figured why not do a Q&A, because I didn't want to miss this week's video as well, because next week my period's due, so it'll probably be a period vlog up next week. If my period's on time, obviously coming off the pill, it could still be out of whack. But I didn't want to have back-to-back period vlogs for you. So I put something on my Instagram to ask you guys to send me your questions for a Q&A video, and I have them here. So I figured it'd be kind of fun to do that today because I haven't done a Q&A on here in a long time. And actually I've had some really good questions too, so let's get stuck in straight away. So the first question I've got is actually really sweet. It's from someone saying, just wanted to ask if you're okay. As I said at the beginning of this video, there's just a few things going on that are a bit at the moment, but generally speaking, yeah, I'm fine, which is great. The second question, and this is one I had a lot about in some variation or other, but it's, are you still fostering? So yes, I am still fostering. Here's the thing, I've been available for a couple of months now. Fostering is not like a straightforward thing where you go on availability and instantly they have a child for you, etc. Obviously, it depends on, you know, the court cases that are happening, etc., etc. It just happens to be a particularly quiet period at the moment in fostering, particularly for the age group that I foster. And it's not just me that's affected. I'm part of a wonderful network of foster carers in my area, and we've been chatting, and everybody's a bit quiet now, so it's not just me. It is just a quiet period. They happen in fostering. You get busier times and quieter times. So I have been getting some phone calls. Some I have said no to because it hasn't been the right fit, and some I've said yes to but they haven't come in, either because of, you know, not when we get a call doesn't necessarily mean that child's coming into care, it's just they have to set up the foster care in case they do. So that's why. And then sometimes I've had phone calls where I'm like, oh, it would work, but actually I've started my period today and I really don't feel well and it doesn't feel like the right day to say yes to a placement, because it's the most stressful part of any new placement is the first day and the first week. So I always want to make sure I'm feeling okay on that day I say yes. And then I got a phone call last week and obviously I was in Greece, so I couldn't say yes for that. So yes, I am still fostering. I'm just waiting for the right phone call to come along, and then I'll be fostering again. What are you most excited for this year? Ooh. I really hope that this is the year we can finally really say goodbye to COVID. I mean, it's always going to be around somewhere, but I'm hoping this is the year that we all learn to just live with it and kind of, you know, medications improved, the vaccines are here. I just want to move on. Basically, I want to have life flourish again, and so that's what I'm hoping for this year. I'm hoping we don't get a resurgence of COVID, and I'm hoping that we can kind of get back to normal. And yeah, that's my main hope, I'd say, for the year so far. I don't have any other real big expectations of it, but I would like things to get back to some sense of normality. Next question is, how do you stay on track with everything, on top of things in general? To be honest, my brain just works in a way that I'm quite good at just mentally keeping track of things, but I do also love to have checklists, so tick things off. I learned how to do this when I was really ill. I used to set myself like 3 things to achieve in that day, and they could be so small, like brush your teeth, have a proper meal, change out of your pajamas or something, but like ticking things off it feels so satisfying. So I do like to do that. I do also have a calendar, although it currently is completely empty for my weekly planner, so that's worked out well. Generally, I do procrastinate and then sit down and suddenly like blitz through things, but I'm not brilliant at managing my time on that sort of stuff, so I'm not going to give you all my top tips because honestly I just sort of do it. So I had a couple of questions about living on my own, to do with, does it get lonely / do you get scared being on your own? Sometimes I guess I get lonely. I'm an only child, so I'm used to having my own space, so I do quite like it from that perspective. like, I guess like if I don't see anyone in a long time, I would get lonely, but I equally, if I'm around people, I need to take a break and go have my own space and sit in my room and watch videos or something, just to kind of have me time. I can't be around people all the time. But I wouldn't say I generally get lonely living on my own, because I'm always going and doing things. With regards to feeling safe, yes, I do. I live in a block of flats, which I think also helps because there's other people around me that I know. And I don't know, in general, I do feel pretty secure. So I don't mind. Living on my own is not a scary thing. The only time I do get kind of scared about living on my own is when I'm really ill, because I worry like, what's if something happens to me and I'm really sick and there's nobody here. And if I've got kids as well and I get really sick, then I'm worried like if my mum can't come and help me out or something that day, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? But that hasn't happened as of yet. And I think it's a worry that anybody who's single living on their own has. But fortunately, knock on wood, not been too much of an issue so far. Somebody asked, will I still be posting what I wore this month videos? And probably not. I might do one. I'm not planning to do my period vlogs like super regularly. Like there may be some months I skip it, some months I do it. So we'll have to see about that one. But my current plan is I'm not going to do the ones that I did this month because I've already washed them and put them away, but maybe next month. If people are interested, let me know. Would you like to see my what I wore this month videos again? Because if you do, then I'll do a video next month when I have it. Have you got any goals for 2022? I guess we kind of talked earlier about me like hoping that COVID dissipates in this year, but I guess I don't have like a big monumental goal for this year, and I do think we have a bit of a toxic habit of expecting people to set big goals and achieve them. But my general goal for the year is to kind of get more comfortable with where I'm wanting to go next in life. I feel like I'm turning 25 this year, so a quarter of a century, and I feel like it's a pretty critical point for me. I run my business, next May I'll have run my business for 10 years, which feels like insane. But that's a really big moment, and I'll be having to decide what I want to do with the business at that point. Do I want to go in another direction? What do I want to do with YouTube? What do I want to do with my life? You know, career-wise, all that kind of stuff. The answer is I don't know where I want to go now. I'm not fostering as well. Like what are my plans with that? So there's all these things kind of brewing about in my head at the moment that haven't really become like a clear picture. And I'm someone that usually like knows instantly when I see something. That was a terrible click. There we go. Usually knows when I see something that I want to go in that direction, and I don't feel that right now, and it's really difficult for me to deal with. So hopefully some clarity around certain parts of my life is something I'd like to achieve this year. I got a lot of questions around having bio kids. So one in particular was from someone who's a fellow asexual, saying, just wondering if you could share your plans around having kids in the future. So you guys know I foster, and I do hope to foster for a long time, and I consider them my kids when I have them, even though they're not mine in blood or by name. Like, you look after these children 24/7, you get attached to them. But would I like to have biological kids in the future? Yes, I would. How am I going to do that? Not really sure. Here's the thing, I'm on the asexual spectrum, but I'm not like 100% ace. I'm somewhere in the grey sexual, demisexual, quasi-sexual, don't know sexual space. I do experience physical attraction very, very rarely. Up to this point, it's only ever been to guys, never to women. So it is possible that I will meet somebody and have a relationship and we'll have kids together. So it's not that it's out of the question, but there's also a very good chance that I will be having kids on my own, and I'm very happy to do that and to go down that route of using donors as well. So, you know, there's all these different options out there. Adoption is not currently on my radar, and to be honest, that would need a whole video of its own to explain that. But potentially in the future, yeah, like all my options are open at the moment is the honest answer to that. Just sort of taking the time to think about all those things and see where life takes me. Here's another fostering related question. Do you get asked to look after older children a lot? Yes, I do. So my approved age group is 0 to 6, but really it doesn't mean anything because they can ask you to take children of any age and they just change your approval if they need it. But that is my preferred age group. So I do occasionally get phone calls, usually from like social workers that don't know me, because what we have in fostering is there's like a referral team where all the children that need to go into care get referred to, and then they see the referral and find the foster carers for them. And there used to just be like 2 women that did this, and I knew them both kind of well because of speaking on the phone about different placements, so they would know exactly who I would and wouldn't take. So I didn't get as many calls back then, but now there's more people on that team, so if they don't know me, they'll call me and I'm like, that's not my age group, I don't do that, even though it's on the system, which is a bit frustrating. But yeah, I do get phone calls about that because it is harder to place the older kids. And to be honest, like, I'm not totally ruling out having older kids in the future. It's just right now with my like work setup and household setup and everything, it's not the right time. So that's where it's annoying that I get those phone calls when it's quite clear from my profile that that's not an age group I take. But I also understand why they do phone, because they can't, it's harder to find foster carers for older kids, unfortunately. Is it intimidating to be such a young business owner? For me, no. I always wanted to be someone that owned my business. I think when I was younger, I struggled with it more to be assertive in a room and to kind of feel the confidence in what I did. But now I'd say I have much more self-confidence about it, and I really enjoy it, and I'm quite happy I really pushed myself out of my comfort zone from like 2017 on about going and speaking at events and doing other things. And in fact, one of the other reasons I wanted to do a Q&A today rather than another video is because these are a little bit easier to edit, and tomorrow morning, which is when I usually edit in the afternoon for tomorrow's video to go live, I'm actually going to be assessing some business university students coursework that they've done, which is kind of fun to do, and I've really enjoyed getting out more into that world and doing that stuff. Doesn't mean I don't have as much time to edit today, which is another reason I said before I did this video. But putting myself out there and challenging myself to go and speak at different events, to do panels, etc. I actually love public speaking now, and I feel much more confident about doing that. And I also really love just meeting other young people, young entrepreneurs, and there's such a good community now. So I don't find it intimidating. I really enjoy it. I thrive on entrepreneurship. So for me, it's something I'm really confident in. But there's always a bit of you that's, feeling a bit of imposter syndrome, I think, with anything you do, because there's always someone who's achieved more than you. So it's just been learning that actually what I've done is pretty good, and it's okay to not have achieved as much as the next person, etc. Somebody asked a period related question, which was, what do you do when you need to change your pads and you're at work or out and about? And that's from someone who's a heavy bleeder. I always have a wet bag. There are travel size and large size wet bags, like handbag ones. So we sell these on Precious Stars, actually, like smaller, large wet bags. And what you do is you can basically just change your pad, put it in that wet bag and put a clean one on. You can store clean ones in a separate wet bag, or if you've got a 2-compartment wet bag, you can put clean in one side and messy in the other. And I would just change them like you would out and about at the toilets. Because you don't need to rinse them out. You just literally take them off, fold it up, put it in and change it, and then move it into your main wet bag. And then at the end of your cycle, when you finish bleeding and all your pads are stored in that bag, just throw it in the washing machine. I've done a lot of videos on how to wash your cloth pads and store them, so feel free to check out some of my previous videos on that. Have there been any changes in body/head hair with regards to the pill, growing faster, slower, etc.? No, for me, my hair, I can't say I've noticed anything, but I tell you one thing I have noticed is I finally stopped sweating profusely. Like, oh my God, I mean, I'm hot now because I'm literally sitting next to a radiator, but before I could literally be sitting in bed and just in like a t-shirt, and I could feel my armpits like damp and sweaty, which is so unusual for me. I'm not someone that sweats a lot at all. I never was before the pill. And as I said, I came off my pill end of December, so it's now coming up to about 2 months, and I have finally stopped that sort of endless sweating, which is really nice. But hair-wise, no, I haven't really noticed any difference. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? God only knows, because what's happening with the world at the moment. Here's the thing, like, technological wise, we don't know where we're going to be in 5 years, let alone 10. Like, things advance so quickly. So I think it's impossible from a career perspective to be like, this is where I'm going to be. I would have liked to have had at least 1 child in 10 years time, maybe 2. So that's one goal I definitely have. What I'll be doing career wise, business wise, or anything else, who knows at that point. I'm happy to kind of see where life takes me. Advice for a single woman considering but also terrified of fostering one day. Do you know what? That's a really good idea for a particular video, which I might do on, because I think there's so many different aspects that you could cover with this. For me, the number one thing I would say is make sure you have a strong support network around you who are willing to kind of help you out when you need to run to an appointment or go to training, etc. Or if you're having a really rough day, who can just help you out. It is invaluable to have that, because it's always just us that are responsible for the children. Having somebody else you can call an emergency makes all the difference, and it's also one of the key things they look at when they're assessing you. Could you do a video on a review/wear test Primark period underwear? Funny you should say that. I actually have a couple of them ready to go for my next cycle, which I will definitely be reviewing and trying them out and giving you guys a video review on. So yes, I will be trying out the Primark period underwear review and be bringing that to you probably within the next month, so sit tight for that. Next question is, favourite book of all time? This is really difficult because I read a lot of books. I'd have to say, I don't think I have like an all-time favourite. There's the classics like Pride and Prejudice, which you kind of have to read. And I did recently borrow Emma from the library, which, oh my God, I meant to take that back to the library today. It's fine, it's still got time. So I do like my classics like Jane Austen. So Pride and Prejudice is like my classic favourite, but my kind of modern favourite? I really liked the Vampire Academy series. But I think my favourite book at the moment that's kind of like a really nice book to read, really upbeat and positive, and also kind of like positive on the LGBTQIA stuff, is Red, White and Royal Blue. This is such a great book to read. It's easy to read. It's a twist on events that happened in real life, and it's just, honestly, it's so well written, and I absolutely loved it. If you've read it, tell me down below what you think. I think it's brilliant, but highly recommend taking a look at it. And the final question I'm going to answer is, do you think you'll go back on birth control in the future? Almost certainly yes. As much as I have liked the break and kind of feeling back to myself, and definitely been less like anxious and depressed than I was on that particular pill. I wasn't seriously so, and again, COVID, we've kind of come out of the Omicron wave, and to be honest, things now in the UK are pretty much back to normal. So you can go about your normal life feeling like it's not that it's not there, but you can have that sense of normality again. So I don't know if that's really helped. I think I'll need to go back on it in the future just to kind of test that theory out. But I do definitely see myself taking it again, because it made such a difference with not having to worry about my period. Even though now I'm back into a regular-ish sort of routine with my period, and I feel more confident knowing when it's going to come and like when that pain's going to be and planning around it, it's still a bit of a faff to do that each month. And I do get worried like leading up to it, like how bad is it going to be? Is this period going to be okay? Because some of them are okay and then some are really bad. So it's just that like seesawing thing that I think I'll tolerate it a bit longer certainly, but at some point, yeah, I think I will go back onto birth control. Also, who knows, I may meet a partner in the future and need it for actual birth control, not just kind of period management stuff. So there's that stuff to factor in too. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, I'm sorry for the break, and I'm not sure I'll be able to do these kind of like on a weekly basis coming up, because things just feel so weird at the moment. The world feels very uncertain at the moment, as I'm sure some of you can relate to. And with going forwards, I'm just not sure what things I will and won't be able to do. So it's just a bit like, And I'm still feeling a bit like meh about my health right now, which is a bit annoying. So I kind of want to get over that funk as well before sort of throwing myself back into the video world. But let me know if there are any particular videos you do want to see, and I will add them onto my list to get done at some point. And even though my weekly planner for February is literally empty, I will try better for March to do a few more things. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Do please subscribe, and don't forget you can get cloth pads and wet bags from my Precious Styles website. The link is down below, and it's also at the end of the video. And I think we'll have some new stock coming in within the next week or two. Just some, I've got like a whole batch of pads that were sent to me for photography stuff, for like obviously the promotional stuff on the website and on Instagram, Facebook, etc. And I decided that it was time to put them up on the website, so I've sent a whole bunch of stock that'll be going off this week over there too soon, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, there's still like loads of starter kits and stuff ready to go, so be sure to check it out if you're interested in starting your reusable period journey. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.